Hello, everyone. Every year, March 8th is International Women's Day. And here at Simply, we dedicate the month of March, the Women's History Month, to celebrate, recognize, honor all the wonderful, amazing women around us. We all thrive for gender equality. However, at the current rate of progress, it will take until 2158, yes, 2158, which is roughly about 5 generations from now, to reach full gender parity. This is according to the World Economic Forum. Therefore, this year's theme is focused on the need to accelerate action, emphasizing on the importance of taking swift and decisive steps to achieve this gender parity. It calls for increased momentum and urgency in addressing the system barriers, the biases that women faces both personally and in the professional sphere. So with that said, we have so many amazing women around us, and one of them is our customer, dear customer, and a trailblazer woman, Michelle Timmerman, the general manager and the vice president of Direct Supplies Inc. Direct Supply is a Grand Rapids-based distributor of surfaces, hardware, cabinetry, adhesive, and many, many more. Michelle has been with Direct Supply for 14 years, and she's actually one of the owners of this wonderful business. She's also passionate about small businesses, systems, leaderships, design, and marketing. Early in her career, Michelle became familiar with Sinclair through the National Kitchen and Bath Association, their local West Michigan charter. Thanks to one of our own, the amazing Vanessa DeCook, who is our local tech and a design rock star. With that said, thank you so much, Michelle, for agreeing to talk to me. I really, truly appreciate it, and I know our employees will appreciate it as well. So with that said, let me just start asking a whole bunch of questions because we are just dying to learn about you and your experience. Let me ask you the first question. How was your life experience made you this amazing leader as you are today?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to answer your questions and, highlight some of the initiatives that are going on around the world for International Women's Day and the month of March. So, my path to leadership wasn't traditional. So, I didn't really intend to become a leader. And sometimes the unintended plans or the unintentional plans are the best ones. So, as a leader, I firmly believe that actions speak a lot louder than words. And I really love to learn and grow and develop. And there's always, new topics to explore in leadership and in our industry and learning how we can evolve as a company and, as a society.
Very good. Thank you so much. And as you know, equity is both about individuals and about systematically ensuring that policies, practices, systems provide all the individual access to opportunities, resources, recognition to be successful. As an individual woman in business, a very successful woman in business, what have you seen done to embrace the equity in the company-wide level? What can we do systematically as leader of organizations to embrace this initiative?
Sure, as a women-owned business in a female-led company, I'm really not sure that that's something that we think about every day just because it's so ingrained to who we are
Yeah.
as a business. It's just natural for us. Um, but being in the construction industry and in distribution and
Mm.
supply chain, those are both very male-dominated segments. And as a company, we're about a 50-50 split for gender. So that is something that, I mean, we're a small business, but still that's something for us to be proud of. And, we try to think about that. But it's probably more intuitive than anything else for us.
So, is there any specific practice you embrace with all your colleagues, even for the male colleagues, to achieve this, equity? As you said, it just falls natural to everybody within the company itself.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, like I said, it's not really something that we really think, okay, we need to make sure that this is even or split, but we do try to give everybody an even playing field or everybody has a seat at the table. It's not necessarily a role or a hierarchy. It's more of we have more of a flat line organization. So anybody here can talk to anybody else, and ask questions and ask for help or guidance or, whatever it is that they're looking to accomplish. And for us, I think that's helped keep things fair. But as far as, equity and inclusion, going back to like the leadership question, it's about actions. It's not about words and initiatives. What
Yeah.
are we doing every day? And how are we doing it? So,
Yeah, I agree. A lot of organizations think of this as a quota system, and it's not about a quota system. It's about giving everybody the equal opportunity to excel. And looks like you guys are doing a fantastic job. Um, this year is all about accelerate action. As I said, that it's going to take us at least another 5 generations globally. Like clearly, there are areas that are advanced much further. It's going to take us about 5 generations to truly reach the gender equality. How do you think we can help collectively? We can help to accelerate this action. Clearly, we do as much as we can within our organization, but is there anything else we can do outside to accelerate?
well, I wasn't aware of that statistic prior to hearing you say that. So, whatever I had thought of probably isn't as much as it should be.
It's okay.
But I've come across countless women in our industry, in that I've met through networking that have been much further in their careers and have always been open with advice and offering mentorship and leadership. And as a leader, I can only hope to aspire and be a trusted advisor for the next generation coming in. But with that statistic in mind, I don't feel like that's enough, but that's my current plan.
Look, anything helps, right? And as you said, some of our environments, including your business, clearly are much more advanced than some others. But you mentioned that giving other leaders advice. So my next question is really about what advice do you have to offer to other women who strive to grow as a leader? What should they be thinking about? How they should approach their career objectives?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thinking back on my own path to leadership, and it wasn't a traditional one. I wasn't necessarily planning on going into leadership, so I think taking small steps to explore those options is something that, we can do, and always stepping outside your comfort zone, which is easier said than done. But whether that's to speak up in a room that you don't necessarily feel like you have a place in or feel like you should be in, making tough decisions that you feel is right and standing by those and trusting your intuition. They're all necessary steps for leadership. And the more you do those things, the more you grow and get comfortable with them, and the more confidence you get. So, really, in addition to that, just knowing your personal strengths and weaknesses, you can lean on your strengths and really learn and grow to develop those weaknesses and work to overcome them. I mean, there's so many resources out there now. It's almost overwhelming how much information you can get, for free or on the internet or have you know, in your Rolodex, I guess is an older reference to use, but I'm sure
Only
the next generation's not going to even know what that is.
indeed. So, how did they convince you to take this leap to leadership?
That's a really good question. I think it just kind of happened. In companies, I think you have leaders with titles, and then you have organic
Mhm.
leaders, people who just automatically
Yeah.
step up. People are gravitated to them for answers. And, having leadership that acknowledges or notices who those organic leaders are and say, hey, this might be a good path for you. Maybe there's some resources here that you should look to develop and grow in. Or is this something that you like? You seem to be really good at it, or people come to you naturally, those sort of things. And then just like if you're that person that has those conversations or realization that, hey, people are coming to me for things, or they seem to wait for me to answer a question or something along those lines. Maybe this is something that I should grow and develop, and just having that
Mhm.
awareness.
Very good. So, what steps can others take to be a better allies to other women? It clearly looks like you are doing a stellar job. But how can we have them convinced to really become allies to other women? What can we do to inspire these advocates out there, male and female, by the way?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about networking, specifically like
Yeah.
industry networking. Focusing just on like the women in building. There's a lot of great organizations around that are working to boost awareness about trade careers, or just women's role in the building industry, and what we need to do to help elevate that and help each other out, including scholarships and other things like that. So getting involved with professional organizations and networking, and really bringing awareness to, yourself, your role, your company, and what you're doing in your communities.
Thank you. I also noticed, like, I often talk about it. We all had a mother, regardless of what our gender is. We all have aunts and grandmothers and sisters and nieces um, and all females around us. So often I find some of the biggest advocates out there are male, actually, who, especially fathers with daughters, right, who really want to make sure that their daughter gets an equal opportunity. Have you, in your career, have you found one of those males that really inspired you besides just your female community as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being in construction, we're in a male dominated field. And it doesn't take gender to see potential. So, I've had a lot of, male colleagues or acquaintances through the industry and through professional organizations, see potential in not only myself, but my company, and really give us opportunities or give us a seat at the table that we may not have had otherwise. And I'm not sure that I would be where I am today without that. So it's definitely not just the female leadership and, female mentorship, but it's really seeing the potential in the person, not necessarily the gender.
Thank you. What is the most important lesson you've learned in your career to date that you want to share with all the people out there, men and women, who are listening to this conversation?
Well, the most important lesson, narrowing it down to one, I think ties back to your other question, is really some of our greatest opportunities as a company and for me in my career have been surrounded through networking, and really been from people seeing potential in us and asking questions of each other, and not necessarily willing things to happen on our own, but really using that connection um, to our advantage, and helping each other out. I mean, we're in such a great industry where it's
Mhm.
close knit and everybody seems to want to help each other out, whether you're a competitor or you're in a different part of the country. There's so many great things about the industry that we're in, and that's definitely helped us for sure.
Fantastic. So, one of my favorite questions, um, which female leader do you admire the most, or multiple female leaders, and why? Tell us about them.
Yeah, so I have a hard time picking just one, but
Yeah.
I'm going through like a Mel Robbins and Brene Brown phase right now. We're just digging into some of their resources and some of the work that they've done throughout their
Mm.
careers. I think they're both just really inspiring and spreading awareness about really showing up authentically who you are instead of what the world may want you or tell you to be. So in a conversation about like gender inequality, like there is a lot that we as women bring to the table. And I don't think that we have to change or sacrifice that. And they have I think, a strong mission around that right now.
So, for those of us who don't know these two amazing women, tell us about who they are.
Sure. Well, Brene Brown is a podcaster and all, and shares a lot on shame and really just showing up as your authentic self. She has a few books out there that have been really helpful into really digging into like who you are and just showing up as you are and just saying that we are all worthy of love and belonging just because of who we are. And Mel Robbins has some really great theories about like being stuck and you know really really motivating yourself to show
Mhm.
up every day and what other people are doing, that's what they're going to be doing, and just let them. And you got your own path you're on, and work through it.
That's fantastic. Michelle, is there anything else you want to share with us that I haven't asked today?
Well, that's a good question. I think we're all in unique positions to show up as we are. Sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's fun, but we're given the opportunity every day to be our truest self, and um, showing up is the best thing that you can do for yourself and for the others around you too.
That's it. Thank you so very much again for joining me today and sharing your background and your thoughts. It's very, very important, and we truly admire you. You are truly a trailblazer and an amazing leader and a fantastic customer, hopefully for many, many, many decades to come. Thank you again for your time. We look forward to chatting with you in the future again.
Thanks so much.